So my name's Tom Tullie. I'm a serial entrepreneur. This is a 7-step program for entrepreneurs, right? So it's, and as of Friday, I'm the executive chairman of Miku. I'm going to give you a minute on my background. Came to San Diego area in '96 to turn around a semiconductor company, Applied Microcircuits. It worked. We went public in '98, grew it really big, bought 13 companies along the way, brought it to a market cap of about 35 billion. Everybody got rich, everyone's happy, but I still had a lot of challenges left of me, so I said, okay, what else can I do? Went and ran another couple of other tech companies, smaller tech companies, venture-backed, public and private, turned them around and sold them, and then basically decided to be a gentleman farmer, as I call it, which is what probably a lot of you guys do. We invest in companies, we tell everybody how smart we are and why they should do it our way, and we sit on boards and do like that and don't really work. So I was planning on doing that up until about 2009 late, when one of my buddies that I had worked with at a previous company had this great idea and said, I'm a great marketing guy, you're a great CEO, you need to get off the bench and help me run this thing and make this thing successful. Well, what's your idea market? Was, let's put machines in businesses and malls that will buy back cell phones and buy back all the crap that we've made in our 20-year careers of making technology and throwing it away. So I said, I'm only going to work if there's a triple bottom line. If the thing is going to kill it on the financial line, because we're all here to make money. If it's a product that people want, and 3, there's some other greater good. So I said, okay, well the third, when I looked at this idea, it's going to make a lot of money, it's a great product, and we can solve the e-waste problem that isn't solved, right? So I said, okay, I'm off the bench, I went to work, got the thing started, and we sold it for $350 million about 3 years later. Once again, sat back down on the bench and became the gentleman farmer, and that was in 2013. Invested in, I don't know, maybe 15 deals since then. With Neil, ran a little TV show on investing, kind of doing all these things to try to drive innovation down in Southern California, but still want to sit on the bench. Been on the board of Miku for about a year. We got 2 millennial founders. One's a great technical guy, one's a great marketing guy. Until we kind of put this last A round together, I was finally convinced that it's time to get off the bench. It's a great product. We're going to kill it on the revenue side. It's going to grow big. It's fantastic technology. It's product people want for their babies. And as a greater good as my triple bottom line, how about saving our babies' lives and making sure that they're safe in their cribs at night? What better triple bottom line can that be? So I'm all in again. I'm back off the bench and working. And now let me tell you a little bit about Miku. So it's not just a baby monitor. What this is a technology play. Technology was developed in a defense contractor where when a soldier was shot in the field, before they sent out more guys to find out, is the guy alive, let's save him, well, let's make sure he's actually still breathing at the time. So they developed technology, kind of shoot out radar, sonar, some other things, read it back and say, yes, the guy's breathing, let's go save him. If he's dead already, I'm sorry, we're not going to save him, risk the other lives. So they took that technology, and my tech guy in New Jersey, where all the engineering is, said, we can turn this into other products, and he had just had a baby, he said, hey, maybe we can monitor my baby's breathing and these sort of things with the same technology. Miniaturized it, convinced his defense contractor company that he was working with to give him like $1.5 million to get it all going. They got that going, did a proof of concept in summer 2017, then started raising some convertible debt to productize it. Raised about $9.2 million from that point to just to a couple weeks ago, and got our first product done at the end of last year and productized it in terms of sales at CES just this past January. So went live with it in January, won all the awards at CES, best baby, best tech, all the 3 or 4 different awards. There's another award that's just on baby tech that we won. So one of these kind of really hot story. And why is that? It's because number one, it works. So this is a great product from it's very Apple-esque, has a fantastic speakers, 2-way communications, great video quality, night vision, all these sort of things you'd want in a baby monitor from the perspective of monitoring your kid and being able to play lullabies and custom lullabies and all that. But really what the technology does, it's basically shooting radar and sonar as well as computer vision. So it's analyzing all these 3 things with these sensors. There's a Qualcomm chip inside where all this is being compiled and analyzed, and artificial intelligence is going on to basically take out the highs and the lows and make sure that you're not getting false negatives or false positives. And that's the key to making sure your baby's actually breathing. You can see on your phone, you can see the sine wave of the RPMs of the baby breathing. If they slow down, you see it going faster. If they take it out of the crib, no motion. So it's very accurate, real time, and anything else on the market that's trying to do that is either doing it poorly with a connected device like a sock you put on the baby that wirelessly transmits the pulse ox, and you get a thing on your finger that shoots it to your cell phone, or something that sits underneath the baby's crib that kind of moves around, or perhaps other sort of things, wearable type devices that the baby's going to knock off. Anything that's done like this uses just computer vision, basically analyzing the video, and that just won't work. We've done it on a bunch of trials. Take the baby right out of the crib, they still think it's breathing for 10, 12 minutes. It just doesn't work, and it's done in the cloud. You have latency issues up into the cloud. Everything's done on here, and it works. It works. We had been in a trial with a neonatal clinic, 5,000 hours next to the stuff that they do, the electrodes they put on the baby and all that to make sure it works as good or better than the FDA-approved stuff they're using in neonatal all across the world. And the doctors are using our data because everything that we store, all this data is stored in the cloud so you can go analyze it after. What's happened before you had a sleep apnea? Did the baby start crying? Did the baby not cry? Was their sleep pattern changed before that happens? What happens if your baby's not sleeping very well? What did it look like in its sleep patterns? Was the room hot? We have all this data being analyzed and can be studied after the fact to figure out. And then our plan is over time, it's also a big data play. Getting all this data as you get more and more customers using the product to come together and figure out what we can help predict and give information to the parent. So I think your child's getting croupy, and why is that? Well, because a croupy baby kind of acts like this in the few days beforehand, and what happens to their breathing pattern, or they're congested, things of that nature. So that's kind of where we're going with it. I mentioned it's a tech play not just for babies. You can pass this around and take a look at it. But this technology, it's $3.99. This technology plays into other markets. Where we're going with it in time is into just the sleep study for not just babies, sleep apnea. If you are ResMed and you want to sell CPAP devices, the biggest problem is getting people to take tests on at-home tests. Have you ever had to do them, which I have? It took me 3 years to finally order it because it was such a hassle. I didn't want to put that crap on me. I didn't want to go in the place for sleep somewhere else for a day. Well, if you think you might be having a snoring problem and you think you might have sleep apnea, wouldn't it be nice to just put a baby monitor basically next to your bed, wake up the next day and analyze the data, send it to your doctor and say, and they'll say, yeah, you better head over to ResMed and get yourself a CPAP or else you're going to die. Right? So these are the things, if you can lower the barrier on test, whoever's the sleep doctor over here, right? Lower the barrier on getting tested, then you can service that patient later, right? So that's kind of where we're going on that. Also, the same technology can help in elderly care and things like that. The biggest problem in monitoring elderly people are like people have I've fallen, I can't get up type of thing. Well, they forget that it's on them, right? And they forget to press it. Or they're sitting in a chair and something happens, they forget to press it. There's peace of mind if you can analyze your folks, whether they're sleeping, whether they're sitting in a chair, maybe it's a favorite chair, you focus the video on them, make sure the sleeping patterns are right and see if anything's going on. So we think we can launch to all those other markets. Right now it's all baby all the time, and then we'll launch this technology in other markets as we see fit. The baby market alone is about $1.7 billion. We're obviously in the smart space, but the CAGR is like 9% in the overall baby market, and the smart baby monitor space is growing even faster. From a perspective of, so where are we right now? As I mentioned, we launched just in January, do about $300,000 in revenue in Q1, only online, only non-Amazon, just on our own webpage, launching Amazon later this week, and probably start advertising it the following week. We'll do that for a bit. We're in talks with Apple, Best Buy, Target, Macy's, all the retail. We'll begin that retail discussion, but kind of manage that rollout as we do the online stuff. Expecting to bring in 1 or 2 retailers on probably in the Q3 timeframe, and then roll from there. So from a financial perspective, where we are now, we've raised, as I mentioned, convertible debt. We raised 9.2 along the way. And we just closed our Series A on Friday with the first tranche. We added another $5.5 million, plus we converted the 9.2, so it's a 14.7 round on 25 pre. We closed that round with $3 million of new fresh capital, and we have 2.5 open as a follow-on that just opened up as of today. And we expect that is going to be what we feed off over the next 6 to 9 months. Our plan is to raise Series B in the Q3, end of Q3 to Q4, depending on when I'm hitting the milestones that I want to be for Q4. And, for the Series B. And the Series B will be about a $20 million round, which will enable us to launch into those other markets that I talked about, as well as really spend money on the secondary product, meaning driving costs down here and driving features into those other 2 markets, as well as some ancillary, some other products in baby. So this will be kind of our core in the nursery. We'll build the trust from the parent because of the quality of this and how it works. And then there's a lot of other products that we can build in the nursery and kind of feed off that value proposition, that brand that we've built. And that's what we'll spend that $20 million on, launching some different markets, as well as kind of spending more money in our retail channel, which will, it costs a lot of money to advertise and whatnot in retail once you go there in a big way. So, questions?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Has there been any concern that your product is actually a medical device that needs FDA approval?
Yes, it does not need FDA approval. If we were in the NICU, trying to get in the NICU as a product they're using for the babies, then it would have that issue. We're just there next to it as a test. But in the home, it's a baby monitor that's providing data, so it doesn't need to be FDA approved.
Just wanted to know you're already on Amazon and you're their number 1 choice for baby monitors.
Yeah, so when I'm saying on Amazon, so we actually went on Amazon, but we didn't. To be on, when I'm calling Amazon, you spend money on it, you become a certified vendor. We launched on it with no fanfare, no dollars, and we're already number 1. That's.
It says you're Amazon's choice for baby monitors.
So that's shocking because I didn't give them any money yet. That's great. There's a question here.
Assuming you're going to hit your milestones for the B round, what are those milestones and what will your valuation be?
All right, so Q4, for really the valuations to get to a Series B in a growth stage is, are you ramping revenue or consumers buying your product? It's not, and so it's basically get 1 to 2 retail relationships launched, depending on what do I want to do, so because they'll see that growth. Showing a revenue curve that customers, as we spend money on digital advertising, it'll pay off you to getting more customers. So building some metrics around that. And then 3, showing a cost down strategy that from a BOM and this sort of thing that we can drive gross margins up. Because right now we did it, gross margins are not great in this product because we built it fast, made it happen, and it's a module. But we need to be successful in retail for a long term, we need to get gross margin up. So those are the 3 kind of basic things that a Series B investor is going to want to look for. And my thought is we'll raise 20-25 million and give them, if we're successful and get through it, 25, we'll give them 15% of the company. So maybe that's a $40 to $60 million pre, pushing it to 80 if we're tailing it.
Any revenue milestones for that Series B?
Well, so Q4 will probably, if it's just a growth mile, I think we'll leave Q4 at a $2.5 million kind of run rate, going from 0 to 300K this quarter to about $2.5 million in Q4, and then a plan will be, as that grows, to probably trying to be more like at 6 the following Q4, so try to more or less triple the number, that kind of a growth curve. Yes?
Yeah. Is this a completely self-contained thing, or is there some online aspect to a server somewhere? And if there is there a ongoing server fee or some sort?
So there is a cloud basis, but it's not a real time. All information is on this device and fed through Wi-Fi to your phone. So the cloud can go down. You can have no connection up to the cloud. It's perfectly fine. You'll just lose the storing of the data. The cloud is all used for storing and long-term hysteresis, looking at the data over time.
But the intelligence is...
The intelligence is in which is what drives the cost up. There's no, see, some of the other guys that are looking at video, they're bouncing all the video feed up there, they're doing it in the cloud, and 10 minutes later, you're figuring out, did the baby breathe or not 10 minutes ago? This is real time like that. That's why we spent the time, the energy of doing it in the device itself and the cost. Yes.
So you're monitoring, are you getting like pulse ox information?
We're not getting pulse ox. We're monitoring the video feed, is the baby moving? We're getting sonar, the sound, is the baby crying, is it murmuring? And we're actually shooting radar, looking, is the chest moving up and down? We're measuring that with radar. We're taking those three things together and figuring out which of those was the blanket in the way. Did that, kind of ruin something in the video? And we're looking for false positives and false negatives, and that's what we call it. We call it centrifusion, moving all that together.
Cybersecurity, people are hacking
Yeah.
into.
We have it's basically, you've heard of two-factor authorization. Well, there's a three-factor, which one throws some algorithmic stuff into it, plus the two-factor. So we think it's pretty secure.
And Tom, about Bluetooth, being like the next secondhand smoke, is there any sort of like residual concerns around the lasers and the monitoring devices around keyboard?
Yeah, there's no laser. It's just what's that? It's not RF. It's radar, but it's not RF. So there isn't. We have patents, and there's a lot of studies, and we've had. For instance, the head of the pediatrics, which are Dr. Jacks out of Children's Hospital in LA. She's kind of a proponent of it, done a lot of studies and looking at that sort of thing. So, yeah, we're just kind of ready to ramp and kind of put all that information out. Yes?
So will you be under HIPAA for data or no?
I don't think so, but I don't know the answer.
Okay. I would suspect not if
Yeah.
you're not a medical device.
Yeah.
So last item, when will you have revenues that are recurring on the monitoring side for seniors? So when could that kind of package?
Okay, so my revenues on the senior side now, so I would plan on launching that product in the 2020 timeframe. So it's a plan right now, so I can't give you, I want to.
Next year.
Yeah, we're 2019 is all about babies. The market's 1.7 billion dollars. We don't need to be anywhere else. So, my key is stay focused. But the market's huge, which is why I think we'll get good valuations in the Series B because they know what it can do, especially if we prove it in market 1 and show that we can do it in market 2 and 3. We'll get big valuations.
Good presentation.
Thank you.